Hey guys, got a new microphone arm. So today so it allows me to lean back and like chill more like this. So yeah, it's cool. Anyways, today I'd like to go over recommended security tools you can use to secure your Bitcoin. So yeah, I recently bought a pack of three Trezor One hardware wallets. This is a really good uh, hardware wallet. It's a really good Bitcoin security tool. I really love these things. I bought three because it never hurts to have redundancy. And also, I've been switching to a multisig format to store your Bitcoins. And multisig is basically where you take like three hardware wallets and you can form like one wallet from all three. And you can say like you need two of these out of the three to unlock any funds. So what's great about that is then if someone wanted to rob you, they couldn't just rob one place and get access to your funds. They would literally have to, let's say you had three or four keys, right? They would literally have to hit up all three places to take your funds, right? The chances of that are unlikely, right? Because they would have to hit them at the same time. So, right, surprise attack basically, three different places. But anyways, like so, like even if someone were to like kind of threaten me per se, like I wouldn't be able to do anything to give them my funds because I only have one key, right? The other two keys would be with other people. So this actually was a model that people recommended for corporate treasuries, right? Because you don't want, like, let's say Michael Saylor, you don't want him to have sole access to the entire corporate treasury, right? So I'm pretty sure they have a multi-sig setup where he has one key, a board member has one key, and maybe like the CFO has the other key, right? And all three of those guys need to input their keys to access the funds. So no one person could access the funds single-handedly. So yeah, multi-sig. So if you have like three of these, you can set up a cool multi-sig format wallet. And I want to show you what I use for the multi-sig. So right here. So this website is called Specter Solutions. They have made like a GUI interface that lies on top of your Bitcoin full node. So go to this website, bitcoin.org, download a full node. So like what is a full node? A full node is basically the entire database of all the Bitcoin history and transactions. So that's what's cool about Bitcoin. And that was the reason why in 2017 or 16, I believe, you had the Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core whole war, civil war, because the Bitcoin Cash with Roger Ver, they wanted to increase the amount of transactions you can process every like block, right? Because Bitcoin, I think right now only processes. I don't know. I'm thinking is it like 7 transactions per second or something? Is basically not enough, right? So Roger Ver literally wanted to make Bitcoin like digital cash. So that means that for like to buy a cup of coffee and whatever, right? So you need to basically be able to process hundreds of thousands of transactions per second, like Visa, right, for that to work. So for them to try to do that, he was like, "Oh, let's increase the block size." And that was what that whole argument was about. Well, the thing is, if you increase the block size, how to say it, maybe not a lot of people can run a full node at home because, like, to run a full node today, like, they keep the block size like at 1 megabyte, they keep it small. And even though you can't process as much transactions and data, you can only process a few, you can but you're still going to keep the database small. So that means like anybody easily with just like a regular computer like the one I have back here, if you have like 500 megabytes or 1 terabyte of data, you can run the entire history of Bitcoin. So that really helps, how to say, the decentralized nature of Bitcoin. And now I knew that Roger Ver Bitcoin Cash was like BS. Basically, when they forked, the first thing I did was sell those Bcash coins, you know, and convert it into the real Bitcoin. You know, I always knew back then, even like, yeah, this Bitcoin Cash seemed really shady and shit. And now we can obviously know what happened to them, man. I think they're gonna. I don't know if they're gonna be around for another halvening, and like I think they split into like Satoshi Vision too. So it's a huge mess, you know. I feel like Roger Ver has good intentions, but he ended up being kind of like Judas, you know, Bitcoin Judas, right? But I think yeah, he's done. Like he's a footnote in the history of this whole thing. So yeah, so this is really important to be able to run a full node. You know, that's kind of the whole purpose of Bitcoin, that you yourself can verify every single transaction out there. Yeah, because you everyone can hold the history of Bitcoin. Sorry, that's my phone. But yeah, so download your full node, then go to Specter and then download this. This will connect to your full node. And the reason why this wallet, to me right now, it's the best one is because of the multisig. It runs on Bitcoin full node, and its specialty is the multisig setup. The multisig wallet, okay, so let's say you have most people are used to either a Ledger or a Trezor, right? And obviously, don't use Ledger, guys. Ledger, to me, like, I'm sure it's fine. I don't like it at all. I was not impressed. It just seemed not safe, and obviously we know why. But now you can always get one of these. Trezor, I think, is really superior. It's fully open source project. Yeah, I'm used to the Trezor one, and the Trezor one is like, yeah, it's a home run, man. It's so solid and stable. So I've had it for several years. Love it. But then I decided, hey, you know what? I saw Jack Dorsey tweet something about Cold Card. So I was like, let's check that out. And I was blown away by this thing, dude. This thing has so many features. Like, you can literally create your own seed by doing dice roll to create entropy, right? So I literally bought like 10 dices and a shoebox, and you just like basically get the dice numbers, and then you can input the entropy, and it'll come up with the seed. It's like basically this thing is for like the super paranoid people who don't trust anybody, man. They have like a self-destruct button, like I think like back here somewhere, and it does what's basically called air-gapped signatures, which is basically it's never connected to a computer. That's what I found super fascinating when I heard about this. You're basically creating addresses and you're creating like partially signed transactions via micro SD card. So then you'll put the micro SD card in the computer, you'll create the unsigned transaction of what you want, and then you'll plug it back into here, and then it'll get signed in here. So it's kind of doing what the Trezor does, but it's adding like an extra step, an extra layer, which is like you like have to physically go from the micro SD card into your computer back to the device. The device itself is never connected, which is kind of a little bit of a hassle, but you get used to it. And honestly, it's probably the only way I would do it. I would go about it now. Now I do know like wallets like Kobo Vault. I think they have like the one where they have a camera, so the camera will just like you'll do the partially signed Bitcoin transactions via QR codes, and that kind of is actually the way to do it. I think that's even better than the micro SD way. It's just that the well-known, how to say, those Kobo Vault and those companies are only, I think, in like China and stuff. So I don't quite trust those companies. Not saying anything against like, you know, Chinese people and stuff, but I don't know, dude. I wouldn't trust them. Like, so I know Cold Car is out of Canada, so it's a little bit more trustworthy to me at least. And their founders are always on Twitter, and like you could tell like these dudes, they're serious nerds. They're hardcore about their product, and this thing is like for the ultra super paranoid, dude. Like you can form paper wallets out of this. Like even the firmware when you download it, like you check that the firmware you downloaded hashes the same like PGP key or something as the owner. Like I literally had to do it. I'm not like a good computer guy, but I literally had to like put this thing in my command line and then like you add the file you download into your command line, and then like basically you run like a SHA-256 sum, and then it'll basically, yeah, here. So then whatever comes, the hash that delivers from your file that you download needs to match this or something in here. So I did that. So it's super paranoid, these guys. But if you don't want to deal with the cold card, because the cold card, dude, is a little tricky, and obviously sometimes complexity is it's a bad thing, dude. I know you can definitely lose coins by being overly complex, so it's not necessarily a good thing. In my opinion, it's just easier just to set up a multi-sig wallet. So yeah, that's what Specter does so well. And I've created a multi-sig wallet using old Trezors, and man, it's pretty awesome. So yeah, I mean, when you hold a lot of Bitcoin, you're always constantly paranoid whether, like, your thing works, is everything legit. So honestly, sometimes I almost think like it's just better to put it on a laminated piece of paper, right? Your keys. Maybe that's just like the old way is just easier, less stressful. But uh, part of the fun of Bitcoin is seeing the new tech come out, right? In terms of security. The only problem is, that new tech, if you do it wrong, could cost you, millions of dollars. So that's kind of the stressful thing. Because like, imagine, you transferring like hundreds of thousands of funds from one hardware wallet to another, and you're trusting these companies to like secure such a large amount of money for you, right? And I'll be honest and say this, yeah, like Bitcoin is worth a lot now, but I mean, if you lose your coins, shit, it sucks, but yeah, it's almost like made up money, so I guess maybe you could look at it that way. Just life goes on. It'd be kind of devastating, but yeah, what can you do? So definitely also spread out your funds between different wallet manufacturers and different wallets. Do not keep all your coins on one wallet. I don't think that's a good idea. So that's kind of it in terms of security. So my advice would be for the regular person, just get yourself one of these Trezors. That's all you really need, for all your crypto. This thing does Ethereum too. I use it to hold Ethereum, and you can interface it with MetaMask and to use it very easily, very easily. This company is really, I think they're the best company out there in terms of security. And if you're going to do cold storage for Bitcoin, Coldcard's cool, but I think multisig is better. So yeah, and then I prefer multisig. So you just sleep better that, like you don't have to worry about having all your funds in one place of attack. I mean, that's impossible. Like you have 3 keys spread out, like, you just, yeah, there's no single point of failure then with multisig. And it's just more straightforward. Just plug in your Trezor, 3 out of 4, and you move your funds. Whereas like cold card, like, okay, I'm creating a partially signed transaction, I'm signing it, then I'm broadcasting it. There's like just extra steps you have to take. But besides that though, it's definitely cold card it's cool. Like the hardware itself, definitely there's nothing like it. It's just basically just a cool factor to it. It even looks cool, so it's well designed. But yeah, I do get paranoid. Like one of these like extra security measures could bite you in the ass, so wouldn't want that. Yeah, so I think that's it, right, for security, as far as I know right now in the Bitcoin space. And yeah, that's kind of one thing that bothers me about crypto is like the security thing is still very new, still like developing. It still gets you super paranoid all the time. At least I'm paranoid about it too. And it's like I know you can actually lose your funds by being over paranoid. So at some point you need to stop. You need to be like, okay, they're secure. Let's stop thinking about it and forget about it. Move on with our lives. Yeah. And another topic I wanted to discuss also is investing. So, guys, 2020 I know was a crazy year for investing, I think I should pull up my portfolio one of these days and show you how I invest, my strategy. The way I do it is I only invest in like one or two things and I put everything into those one or two things. I don't believe in diversification. I think diversification to me is a huge time cost opportunity loser. Like if you diversify, it's actually dangerous because you're giving up time, opportunity, to feel safe when the only commodity we have in this reality is time, right? So you're so afraid of losing money by losing, you're giving up time. And the what I mean by that is like if you just have all your eggs in the right basket, time is on your side. It's your friend, right? So that's how kind of investing works. That's how I feel like. I feel like investing is basically getting time to work for you. So if you put your eggs in the right investment basket, time's your friend and it'll just compound. If you put it $1 million in the wrong basket, time's your enemy and you'll lose all your money. So, in my opinion, I'm going to go back to this website here. This to me it's kind of an important page. It shows you the Bitcoin. It shows you the S&P 500, currencies, commodities, gold, silver. Bitcoin is basically showing you which is better performer than Bitcoin. So obviously Tesla outperformed. I think I saw Etsy also did better than Bitcoin, which is pretty interesting. I never expected Etsy, but everything else that you would think is a better play than Bitcoin, like Facebook, Alphabet, Amazon, did worse. So interesting, right? So that's how I kind of invest is I put everything into in my IRA at least, GBTC and Tesla. Now, here's the thing with IRA, why I kind of don't like my Fidelity IRA is I don't necessarily want to invest in stocks. I think like investing in stocks is kind of a waste of time. Like, unless you put all your money in the few winners, like a Tesla, right, pre-split, I don't see how it's a real good, money play. I feel like stocks maybe just help you keep pace with inflation, really. And it's not like if you just put your savings into index funds and ETFs, I don't think you're going to have enough to retire. Like, if you're going to do this investing game, like, you need to go for broke. You need to go for the moonshots all the time. And that's really the only way to invest. And I know a lot of guys like, well, that's why I did GameStop and stuff. Dude, that's not really investing, like the way like Michael Burry and those guys invest, they try to find like a deficiency in like in a certain thing and then just like maximize it and like short it or whatever. I don't do that. Like I just like to go long on the winners and that's it. So like things like Tesla, yeah, just put everything in there, dollar cost or average it now because it's so expensive. And just let it ride for 30 years and once you're ready to retire, it'll be there and have done a lot of work for you. And I think Tesla eventually, once it matures, it'll just be a dividend company, right? So imagine if you're like the young people who invested in it and just held it for 30 years and just it's going to pay a healthy dividend on top of the high valuation the stocks will have, right? Because the journey of the company is kind of just beginning, right? They've won the EV battle. Now they need to win the autonomy battle. They need to win a bigger story, which is the energy battle, right? The renewable energy battle in terms of like battery tech and all that. So we'll see how they do it. And I'm a big believer in their founder, Elon Musk, of course, too. Oh, yeah. And that brings me to the point. I don't invest in companies or products per se. I really don't care about companies or products. What I invest in is just the founder, the person who is behind the company. That's how my investment thesis is kind of like I only invest if I like the founder. If I don't believe in the founder, I don't hold it because I feel like in the long run, it's not going to do well. So, great founders. Elon Musk, obviously a great founder. So yeah, so his company Starlink, when that comes out, I will invest in that for sure. Like the internet satellite company, I don't know when it's gonna come out, but that's really the only stock I'm keeping my eye out for. Like nothing else in the stock market really interests me at all, you know. And I mean, I like AMD, I like Lisa Su, the CEO there, but I mean, I feel like AMD has already won, so I don't know how much further they can go from where they are now, you know. I mean, they could try to kick Nvidia's ass, but as a miner dude, I like Nvidia cards over AMD, so yeah, so Tesla, I'll probably just invest in Starlink. I'll probably try to put at least 10 G's in that. I recommend everyone basically get in on that if it ever IPOs. And yeah, other than that, I would just be more focused on Bitcoin and just put your money into that because I feel like that's actually a very stable long-term investment, better than the US 30-year treasury. And oh yeah, so my investment is like invest in founders. So obviously the founder of Bitcoin, Satoshi, that guy is a very special guy, you know, whoever he, she, like it was. They basically created like a generational human changing product. Like the internet, that's a human changing product. Like Bitcoin's the same thing. So, and then like if you look at other founders in the crypto space, like a Vitalik Buterin of Ethereum, that guy's obviously a genius. He's the type of founder you want to invest in. And then the next guy I think built off of Ethereum is like the Uniswap founder, Hayden Adams. So that guy obviously, I think he is ahead and above. Like he's a leader in the field, you know, and he's the right guy to lead the whole DeFi movement. So it's interesting. So if you look at these founders from Satoshi to Vitalik to Hayden Adams, like when you look at these guys, they're different, right? They're different from the other founders, and that's what you want to put your money in. So you want to be heavy. I say put 80% Bitcoin, 20% Ethereum, and like, well, there's nothing left after that. So like do 80% Bitcoin, do 15% Ethereum, and do like 5% DApp tokens, you know? Like that's the way I would do it. And I should make a video on how I think it's all going to play out. To me, Bitcoin's money, Ethereum is just still a venture play, man. I don't know how it's going to work out. I mean, as of right now, with their whole transaction gas fee problems and all that stuff, but I think that will all get corrected. You know, they're all going to implement, you know, like the right things they need to do to get those fees down. So yeah, I don't know what else I would go to. So yeah, my investment thesis for 2021 would be to just double down on the winners, guys. Don't look for new things. 2020 was the year you wanted to lock in on your long-term holds, but if you weren't around in 2020, you missed out. Just find the winners that were 2020 and just double down on them. And obviously the main winner of 2020 was Tesla. So you can dollar cost average into that. And then the only other play you should make is Bitcoin because like this is kind of an interesting year for Bitcoin. I think we are in kind of like the beginning of a super cycle. So you definitely want to be along for that ride. And you should always dollar cost into Bitcoin anyway over time if you can. Other than that, I don't see any other stocks that really interest me. I don't see any other companies out there for the next several years that really interest me, you know. I mean, if you're a trader, that's fine. I guess you'll always find something to trade and earn a living off the volatility, but that's not how I invest. The way I like to invest is I like to put my all my money in stuff and forget about it. Because I feel like the whole purpose of investing is using time to be your friend and just it's a place so you can park your money like stock the right stocks so you can forget about your money and spend your time doing other like fun stuff, you know, productive stuff. So I think that's the whole purpose of investing is for your money to work for you, right? So yeah, I never understood like these investment guys and trader guys unless you're trading just for the fun of it because you like the game thesis of everything. But if you're trading to like make money, I feel like, man, you're putting a lot of energy into like, I don't know, like analysis, you know, it's like, dude, like it's a lot of drama. I feel like just pick the winners, bet big on them, and do other stuff, you know. But yeah, I think that's it for today's episode. All right. Thanks.